All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking a few minutes to join us on this beautiful Tuesday. My name is Sam Rose. I am the wholesale coordinator with the Farm Generations Cooperative, and I'm joined by Robin Kelvey of Park Ridge Organics. We're going to talk about their wholesale GrownBy experience. And here with us also is Kara, who is on the Farm Generations GrownBy support team, as well as Danny, fabulous people that if you choose to use GrownBy services are there to help you when you need them to resolve whatever challenges you may encounter. And they're great folks. So we're going to get started here. And we'll just begin with a small recap of the wholesale marketplace on GrownBy and some of the major features. We'll get a little description of Park Ridge Organics, what kind of sales channels they're doing and how they got started with GrownBy Wholesale. We'll talk about some of the benefits they've come to know with doing their own logistics and distribution in the realm of wholesale. Some helpful tools and analytics that they've been able to take advantage of, and a little bit about just transitioning customers to this kind of online platform as opposed to some of the old school ways of getting those price lists out, etc. So for this webinar, remember, please keep on mute unless you're asking a question, but feel free to ask questions. And you may use the chat function to engage or to introduce yourself, maybe your name, location, and farm. Live closed captioning is available, and this session will be recorded. So if you would not like to have your face on the recording, you can turn your video screen off. Great. So again, we are Farm Generations Cooperative. We are a farmer-owned co-op, meaning that farmers participating in GrownBy, opening accounts, registering accounts, and making sales have the ability to join as owner members and be part of the decision-making process that guides us. And yeah, we take our role as farmers ourselves and serving farmers very seriously. And we integrate that into how we've created the GrownBy marketplace platform and everything we do. So we're pretty proud of that. And, you know, one of the things we've tried to do, and this is from farmer feedback, is go vertical. So we started about 5 years ago with the retail marketplace, helping farmers manage direct commerce with their retail customers via CSAs, via farm shops, the farmers markets, and we're now happy to be launching the wholesale marketplace in tandem. And so this is kind of a separate farm shop from your retail online shop. Customers are added by invite only, and that's because generally you're offering a different price list. And so you wouldn't want retail customers getting access to that. You'd want only serious wholesale buyers. So it's by invitation only. They'll get access to your farm shop, get that exclusive pricing. And we've integrated a whole suite of different tools and settings that you can manipulate that just kind of meet that cultural expectation for wholesale channels. So from things like term payments to order fulfillment, you know, their first drafts, then they get approved. All this is integrated, and we'll get into a little bit about more about that in a bit. And then, of course, discoverability. So just like any thriving marketplace, you want more products being offered, so more farmers. And then on the other side, you want buyers. And yes, buyers get access to all farmers who are registered on the site. But again, the more options are out there, the more buyers it will attract. And so hopefully you'll get discovered and increase the accounts that you're serving. And I should say, actually, we were mentioning that we're going vertical. So we've got the CSA retail, we've got the wholesale now, and we will soon be announcing that we are also integrating POS, point of sale capability. So we'll have that software. We'll have kits where you can actually have your kiosk set up if you choose. And so again, this is just because, you know, folks now are kind of juggling multiple different pieces of software with all their different sales channel, trying to correlate that information, inventories, etc. And with it all in one place on one dashboard, you could be doing sales via your farmers market, via wholesale, via on-site POS, CSAs, etc. But it would all be drawing from one single inventory. You'd have one single harvest list. You'd have one single packing list that could be used to make your deliveries to these different accounts. And so again, just trying to create this seamless experience, help farmers save time, save money, get fresh, wholesome product to their customers. And once again, I'd like to introduce Robin Kelvey, one of the co-owners of Park Ridge Organics. Hi, Robin.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm good.
Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. I was hoping that you could just start telling us a little bit about your operation, where you started, where you are now.
Yeah. So Park Ridge Organics, we're in eastern Wisconsin. We're about an hour north of Milwaukee, you know the area. And zone 6A, I believe, not these days. And the farm was started in 2003, so we've been around a bit, and really wholesale has been a part of it the entire time. And in fact, it started more on the wholesale end with my dad growing heirloom tomatoes and selling them to a local small grocery store. And then it was in about 2009 that we did start a CSA program, which has been running ever since. And then the other really big part of our farm is our on-farm store. So the farm itself is certified organic. We grow vegetables primarily. And it's probably about 50% CSA now. And for the past about 8 years, we've been using a custom share program, and we did use the GrownBy custom CSA platform for this 2025 season. We're making some changes moving forward into 2026. We're still using GrownBy, but we're going to use the platform a little bit differently. And that's for no other reason than I like to change things a lot. I don't know. It's like, why ride the wave when you can just like get in a new lake? So we are doing more of a farm credit program for next year, but I won't go into the weeds on that. So yeah, about 50% of our farm has been our share program, down from what used to be a much more like 80%, because our store has gained in popularity. Now the store represents about 30% of our total revenue, and our wholesale makes up the remaining 20%. So it's the share program, our farm store, and wholesale. We don't do farmers markets anymore. We used to for a very long time, but sort of graduated out of that is how I like to look at it. Once our store took off, we've kind of moved towards trying to bring people to us. And we also do a fairly large plant sale in the spring. It's Wisconsin, so you know we only get about 3 or 4 months of growing. So you know you sell plants to people, and then they can't keep them alive, so they come back and they buy more plants, and then they can't keep those alive, so they come back and buy your vegetables. It's a crazy world, but actually plant sales do really well for us. And we did use GrownBy and the online store for the sales of our pre-order plants, which people get real excited about in February to start ordering plants. So that was fantastic use of the platform that we really, really enjoyed actually. So yeah, that's a little bit about Park Ridge, and we have about 4 acres in production in these years. We've been bigger and have gotten smaller. We're one of those farms that's always trying to be smaller and better. And I employ 4 full season full-time people, and then there's a handful of part-time people that work as well. But we are quite seasonal. We work from March through mid-November, and then do a lot of planning and rest in the off season.
Nice, thanks. And so, you know, you mentioned, I want to focus on wholesale, obviously, but You mentioned the plant sale, the credit program where folks are prepaying for retail sales over GrownBy as well. Um, you're kind of aggregating products as well. I understand sometimes. Is that correct?
Yes. So in our farm store, which is not on the GrownBy point of sale system yet, because no one is, because it's new, and we're using Square, and it is a self-serve farm store. And we do bring in over 30 different vendors' products. So we carry everything from cheese and dairy to frozen pastas, frozen ready-to-bake stuff, meats, lots of different jarred things, snacks, chocolates, and it's all Wisconsin based is what our kind of parameters are, is that everything that we sell in our store is produced in Wisconsin. And then we have used the GrownBy custom CSA platform, has allowed us to use it to sell some add-on share options that were coming from other vendors outside of our farm.
Great. So yeah, that'll really be pretty significant when we get that POS feature out for the farm store. That's exciting. Well, back to wholesale. So yeah, I mean, can you tell us a bit about, you said you've been doing wholesale basically from the get-go, but how did you previously manage your wholesale marketing and manage those accounts before GrownBy? What was that like?
Yeah. So I want to kind of explain that I think there's two parts of wholesale. First of all, treating wholesale as a true business, like presenting yourself as a legitimate grower, is really important in the wholesale world, in my opinion. So before the technology piece comes just the basic understanding who you're going to sell to, what they're going to want. Marching into restaurants with boxes full of produce is actually not a bad way to start, believe it or not. So if you're not doing wholesale already, or you feel like you need to improve that, it's really a good place to start, is find your favorite restaurant and bring them produce and ask them if they're interested in you. Before we used GrownBy, we were doing a variety. Years ago, we just text messaged lists to our wholesale buyers, which for us has been primarily restaurants, small local groceries. We don't have a great co-op establishment in our area, so they tend to be more privately owned grocery stores. And then lastly is the food products people. So we have our pasta that we sell in our farm store. They buy wholesale ingredients from us, and then we turn around, they make it into pasta. We turn around and sell their pasta. It's kind of one of my more favorite wholesale accounts, are this idea of a full circle system. So we sort of have three different types of buyers in our wholesale. And we used to, send them a text. Probably at some point in time, we used to call them. I feel like we've been around long enough. We probably used to send a letter, but that's not true. So, then we probably moved towards just some email. It's always was hard to manage. I remember a point in time thinking, is wholesale really worth it? Because you're selling your product for less than a premium price, and it felt like a whole bunch of work, but I never could get rid of it. So we did start to get really fancy and use a Google form. And I don't remember when that was, but it had to have been, I don't know, 10 years ago, right? How long? I mean, it's been around a while. So we did start to use a Google form, which we thought was just the bee's knees. We thought we were the fanciest thing ever. And then we would get the data for the week. Our timeline for ordering is that we send all of our wholesale accounts the availability on Thursdays, and they have until Monday morning, which they never meet the deadline, but that's another story. So they have until Monday morning, and then we shut that off, and we can harvest those items and get them out by the end of the week to those accounts. So we used to take that Google form, look at it in the spreadsheet, fumble through the data, try to figure out a way to print it so that you could actually read it and get an accurate list of what people needed. We thought it was good enough until we actually started to investigate what it would look like to use an actual legit wholesale platform. So GrownBy is the first platform that we ever used for wholesale. We went right from the Google form and a lot of text messages to using GrownBy, and has been an incredible change for us. And so we can go through a little bit if you want. Do you want me to sort of touch on
Yeah, that'd
that?
be great. Can you like kind of tell us what an order flow looks like, perhaps,
Yeah,
or even like, posting your products to receiving those orders to like
yeah,
getting them out of the field, etc.
yeah. So first off, it looks fancier. And I know that doesn't sound like it should matter, but it does matter. And when we had our wholesale list, I struggled when it was in a Google form. There's something about alphabetical, there's something about structure that is like so important, I think, to the way our brains work. And when you're a busy chef or a busy grocery owner, it was always frustrating to me if our list in Google didn't look nice. And all it was a list on a form, right? And we would just have options of how much they wanted to type in that they were buying. Now it's with photos, descriptions. We've moved to a case only model, which we didn't do until the last couple of years, which seems crazy, but for selling wholesale, it's so much cleaner to sell things by a case amount. So with that, I love that it shows the different case prices. It lays it out in a much more aesthetically pleasing way. In fact, he owns a food truck, and he was so excited. He barely ever orders from us because he's got a lot of distance to come to pick it up. But he was so excited when we opened up GrownBy last fall that he like immediately placed an order. He said because he was so excited about the pictures. I know it sounds silly, but it matters. I think we're able to convey more on this. So when you click on an item and want to look at it, we can give better descriptions of what those items are than we ever used to be able to do. So wholesale buyers can really see all of that. So there's obviously, it just feels better. It looks better. There are payment options for the wholesale buyer, which is fantastic. And that can all be set up by the farm, however they want it to be. So they can pay with credit card or through ACH or with a good old fashioned check that they mail in. So it's really nice to have those options where it used to just be checks and me processing checks and tracking people down. Now there's some automation to that, automatically telling them if an invoice is due. Again, that's based on the parameters that we have set up for how much, what the terms are. And that's all unique settings that you can have in your wholesale account.
Hey,
So
Rob,
yeah,
can I interject for a second? Because I
yeah,
just want to, the other side of that equation is that a single buyer, a restaurant chef or something like that, they might be buying from multiple farms over GrownBy. But again, even they can go to their account on GrownBy and see all their invoices in one place, who they need to pay, when they need to pay. And so that's also nice from their perspective because they're not just receiving, emails with pending invoices or overdue invoices and losing them. So that's kind of a nice feature too from their end.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, and a good point. And the because it's an app, GrownBy has an app. It's just this very user friendly, especially for those busier wholesale buyers, which seems like it's all of them. So the flow, and I don't want to, yeah. So the flow for us, like I said, I think now we're actually sending out our wholesale availability Wednesdays. It's gotten easier because we're not recreating that form. We used to like copy the Google form, whatever, but you still would miss something. So just the back end inventory management of GrownBy is much cleaner. We're able to like pop in there, see what items are available to the wholesale buyer, what we might need to adjust the inventory on, any descriptions we might need to change, what we might need to hide so that they're not going to see it anymore. And we're making sure that that list is fresh and up to date for sure by Thursday afternoon.
Do you find you're
Oh, go
do you
ahead.
find you're using your phone for that more or your computer, just out of curiosity?
More the computer, but
Okay.
when you're out in the field and you see that there's powdery mildew all over the Mizuna that you just put on your wholesale availability on Thursday, and now it's Friday afternoon, that is when it's like really nice to pop in to the app and hide that Mizuna quick, and hopefully no one ordered it already. Or you just now have to remove that before you can fulfill your order. You have the power to remove that from their from their actual final order. So it is, I love it for that purpose. Also, the app part is to look up customers and information. So to have that at your ease when you're not at a computer, that is definitely something useful. So they place their orders. Like I said, we give them a certain time frame, and something about restaurants and wholesale buyers, they don't seem to remember it. But the cool thing is it sets that up in GrownBy. So if they miss the deadline, it actually doesn't give them a pickup option anymore for the current week. And for the following week, I believe. I forget how we have it set up. But they kind of get the idea, like they've learned to order on time or you're not going to have it on time. So sometimes we're still reaching out to the bigger clients that you're like, nope, I really think we need to track down their order because they obviously forgot. So otherwise, we have all of our orders on Monday morning. For us, that's incredibly important because our main harvest days are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So that's not only for our wholesale, but that's for our 300 member CSA and our farm store. So because we're running our share program through GrownBy, we have a total list. So it would say on our list that we need 250 1.5 pound bags of carrots, and we need 3 40-pound cases of carrots for wholesale. And we can filter those lists apart. So we can say, nope, we just want a list for the share items and we want a list for the wholesale items, which is usually how we do it. But there's still, the data is still all there if you want it to be all together. So that one piece has never been an option on our farm, no matter what CSA platform we're using or how we are selling wholesale. So that is pretty spectacular to be able to have it side by side. So, you know, your pick list is truly everything that you need to go pick. And then once we have that pick list, we obviously then are picking or gathering or whatever it is. And by Wednesday, typically, we have printed out what we call our packing sheets, right? So mind you, all we've done so far is printed out our pick list. And it just told me that I needed 4 cases of carrots. Because the truth is, I don't care who the 4 cases of carrots are for yet, right? I just know I need to pack 4 cases of carrots. So what we do is we go in and we look at the packing sheets, which you could think of as kind of like what's a packing sheet, right? It's like this store, the Free Market is one of our stores, and it would tell me everything that the Free Market has ordered. So I can look at that on a single sheet, which is great. We print those out and they're like the packing sheet that we look at before it goes out on delivery. But we also can take those packing sheets and turn them into labels. So we filter, and I could show this if it's not getting too bogged down, but I don't want to take the time. So first I'm going to explain it, or should I show it while I explain it?
Tara, do we have the capability to show it?
Yes, you can show it.
Okay, great. Do I need to turn off my screen or?
Yeah, stop presenting and let Robin present.
I will stop presenting in just a second. Okay.
Is this working?
I believe so.
Okay, so on the back end of GrownBy is where we are able to go in. So this is live. This is real. This is our actual stuff right now. And I'm going to go into our fulfillment. So this would be if I were the wholesale manager or me or whoever it is. And I'm going to go on into my fulfillment report. And I want to look at my packing sheets. And so what we do is and I'm going to look at my wholesale. Because remember, we do have our CSA in here. And this week is our last CSA week. So it's like all the stuff is in here right now. So what we do is we had that pick list. We've gone out, we've picked everything or made the number of cases of carrots that we needed. And then we will go in. This is that beautiful packing sheet. So I know that this is, I said the Free Market. So this is what the Free Market ordered for this week. But we go one step farther. So we could just look at our stack of carrots that are cased up Of course they didn't. Or here we go. They did order a case. Thank goodness. So I could just look at the stack of 25-pound cases of carrots and be like, oh, there's one for the free market. But what we do is we export it into a label and we put one item on every label. And so now when we have a big stack of our carrots, we organize the labels. Oops. Let's see if it's going to work. We organize the labels so that all the arugula cases are. So like we'll take the free market and we'll take all their labels and we'll print them, but we put the arugulas with the arugulas and the cabbage with the cabbage. Then all we do is go down the stack of arugula or the stack of carrots and we slap a label on each box. So sometimes it's like, so there's just less like, there's no spreadsheet. We're not double checking with a highlighter on a man-made spreadsheet where there was a million places that errors could have occurred. This system just works really well for us. So if they have multiple cases, which here, he has 2 cases of kale. I think that, well, this is something that probably should be addressed by that. I think what we do is we print a double label of that. I think anything with a 2, we just manually print 2 of those so that we get 2 printed off. But this system then of just having a label, this is a 4x6 label, a little excessive, but from the standpoint of transparency, at this point, you could write a lot code on there, or perhaps GrownBy will come up with a way to associate a lot code with each item, because we do have a lot code for all of our products. Also, maybe some farm address information could be added to this label. So again, this is just how we're using GrownBy. It's the way that we've found it to work. If you were just going to give them their packing slip, that would work too. So when the delivery person comes to pack up the orders to take out onto the wholesale delivery route, they're checking it against this packing slip. So they're going to make sure that there is 1 case of Napa cabbage, blah, blah, blah. So it's just, it feels like wholesale used to take 2 to 3 people an entire day to just kind of navigate that logistics of what's packed, who's going where, let's organize it. I think we've cut that now. Even on our busiest weeks, I feel like we can get most wholesale done in a half a day on that Wednesday when we're kind of sorting it all out. I hope that's helpful.
No, that's great. And so I'm curious, like the reason, I guess, where does GrownBy actually fall in the grand scheme of marketing and fulfillment of orders? And we are not trying to replace logistics and distribution companies, but we're trying to give farmers the tools that they could use to do their own logistics and distribution when that is possible, right? Because those things cost a lot of money. And also, of course, you want to preserve the integrity of these products you've worked so hard to produce, and who better than you, rather than have somebody else throw it onto a truck and who knows how long it's going to sit around. So I'm curious, what is it like doing your own logistics? I mean, how far is realistic? Just how did you work that into your daily tasks?
Yeah. So yeah, for us, we do all of our own delivery of things. And the only exception to that would be if a large wholesale buyer, which, that was LFPA and that's gone. So we're doing all the logistics. I feel like it feels so much more, there's less mistakes. So because we're using that label system, we're just not missing items in wholesale orders. It seems very seamless for our delivery driver to pull in. That's all that he does is our deliveries for us. Pulls in, can easily look at these packing lists. We've dovetailed our share delivery in with our wholesale because we're harvesting those things together, and then we also are delivering those things together. So for us, we focus on wholesale accounts that are along our main route because it's what's made the most sense to us. And yeah, I think that logistics of it's really made a difference on us this year, specifically noticing it since we started using GrownBy.
Are you
And
talking about bottom line, or what are you talking about?
I think, so the other option is when people can pay, of course, they have the wonderful Farmer Love box that GrownBy has. So anytime someone has a transaction in GrownBy, they can pay the fees that are the credit card fees and the small GrownBy percentage fee. So it's amazing that across the board, whether they're CSA customers or they're wholesale customers, many of them are choosing to pay that fee for us. So
Nice.
so in the end, it is much more cost effective, especially if you have some customers that are paying that fee, because they're recognizing the ease of ordering, paying online, all of these things. They're willing to help share that cost a bit. And I think that that's really fantastic. Our wholesale, I feel like we aren't in we haven't been trying to grow it heavily. And so sadly, I can't say that GrownBy has just made us, wholesale gurus of the area. What I can say is that it makes me more confident to go out to new wholesale accounts. 100%. It's a very fancy tool to show a chef and say, hey, this is how it is. We have a wholesale packet of information that we give all of our wholesale customers before they even order. So it spells out yep, we're legit. We have a mission statement. This is our food safety stuff. And also, by the way, we use GrownBy, and it's this, and these are the dates and deadlines, and this is how you order. So I think just presenting yourself as a organized and easy to use from the consumer end business, it has a big impact on who's going to order from you. So we're not in a growth stage with wholesale. We're kind of with all the changes because we lost some of those larger accounts. It's something that we are talking about for next year to have a little bit more impact on some of our. I want to find more restaurants. I want to find more food producers that we can sell wholesale to. So I feel real confident with this, with the kind of the stepping up the game and using GrownBy.
That's great. So when you're going to new accounts, you had the confidence that this is something easy for them to pick up, like they're not going to get confused or frustrated and decide not to do it. But then also, we just launched this marketplace, but as it gains momentum, there will be more and more buyers on who will hopefully discover you and decide, purchase such and such product from you potentially. And so that could be a new account. The last question I had before we open it up to the audience is just, are there any analytical tools on the GrownBy dashboard that you find yourself using?
Yep. So for us, it's about time that we sit down and crop plan for next year. So in the analytics, we can look at our sales reports and see exactly, specifically wholesale sales. And I can see exactly how many cases of each item we sold, what was the most popular case size. GrownBy has some reporting available, but everything is able to be exported. So it's kind of, the data is there, and what you want to do with it is, so I can pull most of what I want for crop planning directly from the sales reports in GrownBy, but I also could export it and use that, exponentially for different purposes. So we're definitely going to be using it. I like to look at, you may think that you should grow cayenne peppers because wholesale buys them, but then you're going to look at the numbers and realize that probably didn't need to grow cayenne peppers. I think it's definitely going to be useful as we head into this fall. Again, it was our first year using wholesale GrownBy, so I'm excited to see what kind of data we pull out of it. Yeah, we probably shouldn't sell wholesale green onions like in that picture, but we all do. We just do less plantings of them now. But
Right on. Well, thanks so much, Robin. We're going to open it up now to folks that in the audience who have their own questions. If there's anything that didn't get answered that they'd like to hear more about, feel free to.
I know there was a chat question, so I don't want to.
Yeah, there are two chat questions. One about what type of printer you use, Robin, which I answered generally, but if you want to talk about your specific printer. And then there's also a question about government insurance, which I'm pretty sure you're not using any kind of crop insurance, or yeah, those are generally only available for large scale commodity producers.
Yes. Yeah. No government insurance, and that's, let me see. What did you say for my printer? I'm using a Dymo. I think we're
I
using.
said I didn't know exactly what you were using.
Okay.
but that
We're using
people
the
use thermal
Dymo
printers.
XL. So it's left over from, we've had a couple of them, but Dymo XL is what we print the 4x6 labels on. And yeah, I can't remember. I bought two of them years and years and years ago. I don't think they're that expensive. Compared to, like, we have a very different label printer for printing out some labels we use on, oh, there's the look at, it's a trusty Dymo. The Dymo XL, there it is, 4XL. And yeah, some printers are like $800. That's not what a Dymo XL is. And it works great. It just pumps out. It's all thermal, so it's fast. It just pumps those labels out real fast. And then let's see. There was an earlier, oh, that was like not necessarily a wholesale question, but
Just about added value products, if you have
yeah,
it.
yeah, in the off season. No, so I don't do value added stuff in the off season. I don't know if it's a Wisconsin thing, but we don't want to do much in the winter. Not like there's a needed rest and a lot of planning because our season is so short. It's like we're going at 120 miles per hour the whole time. So we don't do any value added stuff. Many people do. We do sell wholesale actually throughout the winter. So we're selling root crops out of storage, probably well into January or February whenever we run out. And then I always get excited that, like, yay, we're out. And then we can take a breather before we fire up the greenhouse again in late February. So, yeah, we kind of remain a seasonal business intentionally. Okay. Was that all the questions?
I actually can't see that screen. Was that all the questions, Kara?
Yeah, unless anyone else has questions, want to come off mute, ask anything.
Well, if not, once again, Robin, we'd like to thank you so much for sharing your experience. It sounds like you're up to some really dynamic things over there at Park Ridge. And to the audience, those folks who were able to make it, we thank you for your time. You can always reach out to Kara, myself, Danny. We're here to answer any other questions you might have. We can set up a demo and just show you a little bit more in depth about the different features on GrownBy Wholesale. And yeah, we look forward to working with you. So we wish everyone a great rest of their season. Hopefully things are winding down. They get some rest. And thanks again to everyone.
Thanks, everybody.